Bonty, obviously a little bit hard to reflect while you're still in your career, but 250 games for the Western Bulldogs. What are your sort of immediate thoughts heading into the week against Sydney?
I think your mind always goes to obviously the journey thus far, but particularly the people that have helped me along the way. Everyone knows that it's really not only your own actions that get you there. There's been so many people that have influenced my journey from before I was even drafted to the early parts of my career, and obviously different people that come in, let's say the tail end of your career that help you sort of continue to strive. So, sometimes you have to scratch your head and pinch yourself to think you're still doing what you love now. For me, it's in the 12th season, but incredibly grateful for the time I've spent at the level.
12 seasons and 250 games, so it's pretty quick, really, when you think about it. What do you sort of put your durability and longevity down to? Is it off-field stuff? Is it the way you play? What do you sort of feel like has allowed you to play so many games consistently for so long?
Yeah, it's probably a combination of things. One's probably, genes and sort of the heritage and the lineage of my dad's probably hard-working nature, my mum's sort of competitive Irish streak, and a combination of things of just, getting through things, and ultimately if you can still sort of run, you can still sort of play. That's always been my attitude, and it's definitely a mental makeup, of how you treat the game, how you treat your own body and injuries at times, and understanding, really what you can play through and at times what you can't. And I've been very fortunate and lucky. That's probably the other element to it, is I've been quite lucky with my body, and that definitely dictates what you can do from season to season, and then you add the elements that you can control, which is all the aspects of your recovery and how you look after your body from week to week and season to season that dictates longevity, and they're all things I've put a lot of time into. So a combination of things, but geez, I feel lucky to have played at this level for as long as I have.
One club for the 250 games, that must be pretty special too, to wear red, white and blue every time. You're obviously the captain, but to go through that length of time and play at one club must be nice.
It is. I was really fortunate growing up in Eltham, in the northern suburbs, beautiful green leafy Eltham, to even still stay at home for my first sort of season and a half, and then be able to make the commute from Eltham, but still engage with my family on a regular basis. Like I think about that often, of the guys who've had to travel from Western Australia all the way to Melbourne and really leave all they've known for 18 or so years, and now move to a completely different environment, and even as parents having to basically hand over the responsibility of your son now from day to day to be looked after by a completely foreign place, and that would be a daunting experience. And I was really fortunate I didn't have to go through that, so I've been lucky to live and stay in Melbourne for all of my career, have my family experience pretty much everything that I've experienced on different levels, and to do it at one club, to do it at a blue collar working. That's how I felt like my family was growing up. So I really loved that I was able to come to a place that probably suited my morals and values and represented a lot of the things I did as a young person and my family growing up. So I've been so lucky to spend all my career thus far at the Western Bulldogs.
Support network we've touched on, obviously your partner, your parents, and then you've talked about different individuals over the journey, Joel Corey and guys like that. It must take a bit of an army. It's one individual, but it must take an army to get to 250. It
does, mate. You mentioned Neela, you mentioned my family, who more than anything are the emotional support. They obviously provide the structure for your life at times, but a lot of things go through your brain as an athlete, especially sometimes the captain of the football club. You do wear a lot, you try and shoulder a lot, and a lot of that ends up falling, onto others as you try and process them and work out how you can influence people in the best direction to hopefully chase some success. And so there's so many different facets of the people that I've been lucky to be a part of and have been a part of my life that have contributed in one way or another. And as you said, there's football coaches, there's off-field mentors, there's family, there's friends. I really don't think you get through, a career like mine, 12 seasons deep of a lot of football, without those people being really strong influences. So, been super lucky for all that they've done for me. Just last one,
we saw some vision during the week of you playing for Eltham. Reflecting now, you're 250 games, premiership player, captain, All-Australian. What would that lanky left footer think from back in those days?
Well, in many respects, probably still a lanky left footer. I might have put on a bit of size since then, but hopefully people still see the same shades of that kid growing up in Eltham, kicking the footy at Panther Place, which was our home deck. I idolised our senior players. That's where I thought as a 12 or 13-year-old kid what I wanted to do. You know, that was probably the highest level close to you that you could fathom playing in, and clearly that transpired in to the big leagues as I sort of turned 18. But I think he would be so shocked that his dream came true, that he managed to play and even prove himself at the highest level, but to now have, I guess, transitioned into the player that I have, sort of wouldn't have, I think, ever occurred in my wildest dreams. So I just hope, he'd be proud that he put everything in he could and continues to do that across whatever the next sort of 4 or 5 years looks like for me as an elite athlete, and just try to get the most out of himself.